Record. All right. So, welcome to a new season of Cards, everyone. First deck we're going to try to get to Field Marshal with today is this US German mid-range list that I've been pretty successful with on the ladder in the past several seasons now. General idea of what this deck is trying to do is we're trying to leverage the power of this M4 Sherman here that lets us draw 2 cards plus provide, some decent stats for the cost. And we're doing this by running a fair number of reasonably aggressive early units that we want to take the front line with, put pressure on our opponent's HQ, then draw some cards with the Sherman. Unlike some of the other lists that you might see, US lists that you might see that are kind of like going full front line, or they're like going just really big over the top units. We're trying to be somewhere in between. So depending on the matchup we're in, we're definitely going to take on a more controlling role or a more aggressive role if we're, depending on what kind of list that we run into. We're still running some big powerful top end. We still got the bombers over here that you'd expect from US. We're just trying to use some. We're kind of a front line deck. We want to take the front line. We want to be aggressive, but we're not all in on that plan. That's why we're not running a full play set of these Shermans, for example. Some other cards you'll see, we are running German cards. I did recently acquire this 101st Airborne, and I decided to put this in the deck over one of the Panzer IVs. I think normally I would cut the FLAMMPANZER instead, but since it's early season, I think I wanted to just have that slight hedge against aggressive decks, since we're more likely to run into those at the start of a season. Panzer IV is probably just better overall. Like, it's just a solid, individually powerful card, but also has some synergy with our units that have very powerful deployment effects. What can often happen in games is you'll find that you'll deploy like an Avenger or B-17, and then on the following turn you'll be able to attack with it, then bring it back to your hand with Panzer IV. And that can be a reasonable play depending on what your opponent's doing. If there's sort of key cards that you feel are going to be problematic as the game goes on. It could also work sometimes with bringing our M4 Shermans or Panzer IIIs back to hand to draw additional cards as well. That's also a reasonable thing you can do with it. And again, like I said, it's just an individually powerful card on its own. 5/5 body for 6 that generates you a ton of tempo is just always really solid. But the added synergy with the deck, I think, pushes it over the top for inclusion. So as I said, normally you'd probably want a third one of those instead of the third FLAMMPANZER, but we're going to keep that in here as a slight hedge against the aggressive decks we're likely to see early on here. So why don't we hop into some games and see how we can do. Okay, so I see Alexandria across the table. I'm thinking he could either be a control deck, he could be a Commonwealth deck, could be an air deck. He could be running a lot of like small bombers. Because of that, I'm inclined to hold on to the FLAMMPANZER. I'm kind of inclined to keep the gunship mission again because this can deal with commandos. I don't think we need 2 Marines in the opening hand, but a Panzer III is just a solid turn 4 play if we're lacking anything else. It's possible I could throw back both First Marines, but I'm thinking I want to have a reasonably aggressive game plan in case they are playing a control deck. And this is just a great pickup, actually. This is pretty much the thing. You want to see at least one of these in your opening hand every game, ideally, because it's just a solid 2-drop. Okay, so it does look like he's playing air units, so this FLAMMPANZER is going to be quite valuable in this game. We also got a sudden strike too to deal with additional units as they come out. I think I'll just play the FLAMMPANZER. Normally I'd want to save it for a point where they where they have already buffed something, but we have a sudden strike to deal with that anyway, and like this is just good to play out now. And then we have like he's going to be inclined to pin this down again so it doesn't eat his bomber, which gives us a chance to put this into the front line. Okay, so that's fine. I'm wondering if I want to hit that with tactical strike and move this up, so that if he wants to if he wants to throw this into here, he loses this. It's also possible I just want to play down another 5th Infantry instead. We could also just move both of our units up and threaten this. There's a lot of different lines we can take here. And I don't really want to throw this out without knowing what we're going to be doing with it quite yet. I'm also not sure, like, normally I would just keep this in hand and discard it to this, but of course we don't know what we're going to discard from that, so it's hard to just to keep that in hand and hope that it's the thing that gets hit, but it's probably still early enough in the game that this has value, so we could just throw it out. Okay, so the way he's playing suggests that he either has carpet bombing in hand, or at the very least he has it in his deck, which is to be expected. Now the question is, do I play, how aggressively do I want to play? I think we want to just play this out. Yeah, I think I'll take another tactical strike. Oh, he's just eating them. Okay. Yeah, that's fine by me. So what I think I want to do, we can get value off of this now. Lost one of the attack strikes. I think that's okay. I think I'm just gonna take this out. That works for me. So this is going to eat damage to is dealt to this unit instead. That's kind of a pain, so I'm going to have to do this, I think. And I'm actually just going to leave this back. He's probably not going to move this forward, but at least it gives him the chance to make that mistake, quote unquote, because if he does, we can get value off this Awoken Giant. I could also just hit it with the 1st Marines. But no, I think that's okay. I think we want to do this and get the redraw since we're about to lose something from the Takasagi anyway. And so next turn, if he has carpet bombing, he could throw this into this and it would die along with the 2nd infantry we play, but then we'll have another one as a follow-up plus the 1st Marines to put on some pressure. B-17 in hand to deal with something big afterward is also nice. That's annoying, but not much we could do about that. Okay. Now the question becomes, do I want to just play out the B-17 now? What could he have? If he has Mosquito, that'll be a bit problematic. Then that'll have to trade with this. moving this up in the front line, having a 3-4 is not amazing either, although 2 3-4s is okay, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, those Takasagi's, man, they're always kind of a beating. They just drain you so much. Yeah, I'm not sure what's the right play here. I think it's just do this, perhaps. Interesting that he decided to do this without knowing the value he'd get off of the units beforehand. Because now I'm just like, now I'll just trade it into everything he has, and like, because I know that they're not gonna get much more valuable. Like all that, like, yeah, I guess the carpet bombing like finished off those units, but I mean, kind of fine with that. Ugh, where were you several turns ago? Guess we're just gonna have to do this. Unfortunately, this eats this. Doesn't have a 5th point of defense, otherwise this would have been the play. We're in a rough spot now. We're kind of like, we've gone through all of our frontline units without finding a M4 Sherman, so the chances of this drawing as cards in this game is virtually non-existent at this point. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pack it in. At this point, the chances of us being able to recover from this position is basically non-existent. Now, once again, cards like Takasagi and Empire of the Sun, really powerful in mid-range mirrors. They're just so hard to fight through, the card advantage that they provide. All right, US versus US. If they're going bigger than us, we'll need to be fast. I think we want to throw these back. This is probably not that great to have in the opening hand. I want to keep this because he's almost certainly playing something big. But if he's a more aggressive deck, it could be wrong to keep this, and now we have a very clunky hand, so we'll see. Sure. Yep. Our opponent's playing some fringe deck that we didn't expect, so we're probably gonna get run over just because we didn't keep a hand that was set up to fight something like this. If we can find a FLAMMPANZER, we're in a great spot. And remember when I said we had a full complement of FLAMMPANZERs in hand specifically for this reason? Yeah, I guess we should take this out. Next turn. Actually, next turn it probably makes the most sense to play the Panzer III-H and look for either a sudden strike or a FLAMMPANZER. There it is. It might be, you know, a turn too late though. Will largely depend on the contents of our opponent's hand. Yeah, and that'll do it. We don't have a way to deal with that and everything. Oh, that's not true. It'll retreat when we kill this. So how do we want to do? We want to play this and just move everything up, I guess. Okay. If our opponent has in the Navy, I think we just lose. No, that's not true. We have other options. So let's start by shooting this. Okay. If he had in the Navy, we could have just gunship missioned something to push our life total to 7, so that plane wouldn't have been enough. I suppose we could die to like triple gunship mission, and so maybe we should play around that by playing out our own gunship mission. Not sure that I care that much about that though. Forward. We could also die to strategic bombing, double gunship mission. Does not look like he has those things in hand. I think to play it safe, let's just like smoke screen our HQ here. Shouldn't have anything that can blitz. Actually, that's no. Can he have anything like that? I suppose he could be playing. He could be playing Patton, plus the planes could fly over and kill our stuff. That is definitely a real thing that he could be doing. Him just playing it out like that, though, makes me feel like he doesn't have that card. Alright. I don't think there's anything that he can draw off the top that wins him the game from this position. I suppose mobilization into triple gunship mission would do it. And just because we can, let's just blow him up. Alright, well, it was looking dicey there at the start, but we're able to turn the corner, close the game out. Alright, looks like we have another aggressive deck to contend with. So we're definitely throwing this back. These are decent. I think this is a bit too slow. It can be good in certain spots, but it's just too expensive for the start of the game. We're on the play, which is nice. 5th Infantry definitely leave a little bit to be desired in the face of their 2-3, unfortunately. But in the past, when these Japanese decks were more, were running a high density of you know, blitzy 1-drops that these could just eat eat, then it was different. I think we just, how do we want to, we probably just play out another one of these and just pass. Hello, Dave of the Boozy. How are you this fine morning? Morning? Afternoon? It's still the morning, yes. Yeah, in the face of, before Allegiance, these were, I mean, these came out with Allegiance, but these were definitely more appealing before, they would have been more appealing against the, like, 2-1s and 1-1s that were being run. That's actually, I'm actually pretty okay with that. We're just gonna destroy this now. Like his whole turn, his whole last turn amounted to one additional damage on our HQ, and yeah, he's threatening with his tank now, I suppose, but we can just trade this into it. If he wants to eat one of our 2-3s before that happens, I'm fine with that. In fact, I'd prefer that rather than him going for our HQ, because the longer this game goes on, we're favored. Buff it again, please. No buff again. Okay, so in that case, we'll just do this and move this up. The M18 HELLCAT deals double damage against tanks. It didn't need that ability to kill his tank, but that's why I wanted him to buff it again, just because it would have killed it no matter what he did. So running the Pete. So this can't be attacked by our ground units while it's in the support line, so we're probably going to have to spend this tactical strike on it. Because I don't want him to just, like, continuously bomb us every turn for 2. Yeah, I think we'll just hit this, do this, do this. And I'm making sure to put this on the other side of the HQ because I don't want him to hit us with bombing raid and kill both of our units. This way, if he wants to bombing raid our HQ, this one at least still survives with 1 HP and has the opportunity to hit the front line and get that +1/+1 buff. Alright, I think he's gonna make an aggressive push for the front line here, maybe? No? Okay. I was gonna say, like, hopefully we get some value off of this FLAMMPANZER, but that doesn't look like that's gonna be the case. So this is a 1-drop, right? So our FLAMMPANZER can take that out at will. I think we want to just play this out, smoke screen our HQ. Now this can't attack us, or it can't attack our HQ. But if he wants to throw it at one of our units, he can. We're in an okay position here. I would like to see a Sherman off the top of our deck so we can gas back up, draw some more cards, or just see some more. Yeah, I think that's what that would be our best draw. That or a Panzer III-H, just to have a little bit more card advantage. Because right now we're kind of keeping up with them in cards, but we're keeping up with them in cards, but you know, just in case, I'd feel more comfortable with having more. No, we are playing against a human. They just have a really boring username. I don't know, maybe it means something to them. Do we care that, like, I don't think I take this out. if he wants to operate something that's this expensive for 4, I think I'm okay with that. But I do want to take this out, I think, just so he doesn't throw both of the airplanes into this P-40, because this P-40 is kind of locking him out of the game right now until he finds a way to answer this. Like, the biggest thing that the Blitz decks have going for them is that they have a lot of fast, efficient units that take advantage of low operation costs, and a card like that just like completely stuffs that kind of game plan. I mean, that card is hard for a lot of decks to deal with, but it's really, really bad for aggressive decks. And you see the enemy concede there because he just didn't have an answer. How are my levels, Dave? Like, are things good? Is like the game volume versus my mic volume fine? I always feel like I'm a little too loud in general, but especially when I'm streaming. Okay, Germany on the other side of the table. It's early season, so I'm inclined to think they're probably playing an aggressive deck. And we know Ari was playing, I know this user was playing kind of a mid-range aggressive German deck for most of last season. This might be a liability, so I think I'm supposed to toss that back, as much as I'd want to keep it in this hand. Unfortunately, we threw back one of our B-17s, we got it back. You know, this is our top end in this deck. We don't want to see this card until, well, turn 9, so... No turn 1 play from Ari. Wonder if he's playing a different kind of deck. Okay. Sure. That's gonna be... That could pose some trouble for us. We can't target this unit with orders, so we don't have a clean way of answering that card on the table currently. I think we still run out the 2-3, though. At the very least, he can act as like a distraction. If he decides to attack it instead of our HQ. Also means that he can't reasonably move this unit forward right now, so it's like it's doing something. I'm wondering if I'm supposed to kill it though, just to be resource efficient. That's probably wrong though. I'm pretty sure his deck is running things like Sendai Regiment, so this will be good against that. Although we would want to take it out so that this Death from Above has a higher chance of hitting that, so maybe with that in mind we should do that. And like, this might signal to our opponent that we do have Death from Above in hand, so they'd most certainly play something else out here. But we'll see. Yeah. So now they're just gonna throw a bunch of things out on the field. Oh, okay. Well, in that case... I think I'll go ahead and take the redraw, thank you. And yeah, I think I'm okay to sudden strike this. Rather than if I could kill it with the 2-3, but then that would give him a card draw. So, all right, well that's pretty bad. That was almost certainly their draw for the turn. I guess we should do this. Just take another hit. I mean, we're probably dead because I know his deck is running burn cards like Bismarck and such. But 3/3s for 2 that can't be targeted by orders are strong. Who knew? So we'll play the Death from Above, we'll see what it hits. Didn't hit what we wanted it to, but at least we're not completely dead. I mean, we're probably virtually dead at this point. Or we're effectively dead, however you want to say it. I unfortunately have to take a 2 damage from that thing. I can't afford for this to move into the front line. Well, I guess this still takes it out the following turn, so it doesn't make a huge difference. And then next turn, what would we do? We would play 7, move this up. Yeah, and he's just throwing everything in the kitchen sink at us because he knows, like, we are very close to dead. If he can just keep our life total low enough. Well, the game was kind of close until he drew that. I'm assuming we're just dead next turn. He's either got Comet, he could have Bismarck. If somehow we dodge all of those things, though. Joke's on you, opponent. I'm in general, so I don't lose a star from that loss. Yeah, our opponent was playing one of the better decks that's in the format right now, and our deck isn't really that well set up to beat it. It's something we talked about in that first match we played against the what was that? It was a British Japan deck. Empire of the Sun and Takasagi Regiment are just really hard. I mean, to be fair, the thing that really lost us that game there was him having the early Gebirgsjäger and us not having a clean answer for it. But the amount of inevitability that things like Takasagi and Empire of the Sun bring to the table make it really tough for other mid-range decks to compete. What do you mean, what am I using? What deck am I playing? I guess you would have missed the deck overview. I'm playing a US German deck. It just got a solid mix of what am I trying to say? Just a solid mix of units with decent stats for their cost, and there's a few other key cards that come up in the deck. Well, I guess I'll explain them when we see them. So I have some options here. He's playing a Alpine list, and so I'm probably supposed to not be greedy and hit this with Gunship Mission, because his follow-up is either gonna be the second Alpini to draw a card and get a 3/3, or it's going to be the Gebirgsjäger, which is what killed us last game. So I think I'm just supposed to take this out and just leave it at that. Chances are these FLAMMPANZERs will have text in this matchup anyway. Like, he'll probably play another. Yeah, and there we go. There's the Alpini that we mentioned that he could be running. And him running that out like that suggests to me that he has another one in hand that he's really trying to draw cards with. So... Or it could also indicate that he has, could also be an indication that he has encirclement in hand, so he can duplicate this. So I'm gonna play this out so I can kill the bigger unit. Okay, now the question is, do I just death from above? I think the answer is yes, especially because I just drew another one. Like, he has a plan. If you're just throwing this out without it drawing a card, you know the opponent has a plan. So let's just try to disrupt that plan. Okay. So he's got a 2/3 artillery. It's annoying, but it's not super scary. We just throw this out to kill that, put this out. This alone can't take out either of our units. So... okay with that. In fact, if he wants to fill up his support line next turn, we got an answer for that right here. And so because of that, I'm wondering if it's actually worth even saving this unit. Like, I could death from above this. Move this up. It's probably fine. Keeping the board clear also makes our B-17s better later. It's also an Alpine unit, so like if he runs off things like Gebirgsjäger or second Alpini off the top, we're denying him card draw, or we're denying him a 4/4 that this can't kill. Okay. That's definitely annoying because it like drew him a card and now he gets to eat our 3/2 if he wants to. I wonder if it's worth running the M18 HELLCAT into this. I'm not sure that it is. Because he could reasonably be running things like Panzer IVs. And we want a clean answer to that, which we don't have right now. We've used both of our death from aboves. B-17 is still a couple turns off. There's no, we don't have any, like, there are no Avengers in sight for us. So it's like, we do have other ways of dealing with that card. It's just that none of them are in hand right now, so. I don't think I want to just throw this at here just to eat this thing. Now I think we definitely want to strategic bombing. Yeah, I think now's the time. Just finish off his unit, take out the plane, keep applying pressure. Yeah, so late last year, the game saw several new expansions, or sorry, not several new expansions. We got a bunch of new cards, about 150 new cards in the Allegiance, what is called the Allegiance expansion. Any card that you see me playing that has that little symbol in the bottom, it's hard for me to show without, there's like a little symbol in the bottom right corner of every card. Those are expansion cards. The big thing that the expansion added was French and Italian cards to the game. Our opponents, like Alpine units, the like Alpini regiments and stuff, those are among the Italian cards that were added. So I can move this up and eat this for 5. This would be 6, and this would be 7/8. I think that's what I want to do. Or do I just keep applying pressure? Yeah, I think I would just keep applying pressure at this point. Is he going to Nebelwerfer that to finish it off? No. Side switch and surrender? No, they don't, I'm afraid. But you know what? Every nation has access to surrender right here. So let's move this up in case he's running some frontline thing. We can still play this in case he's running a countermeasure, which he was, and we baited that out so that this can now come forward and just finish him off. M18 HELLCAT, 4/2 tank with blitz, just like solid. I don't know, solid card overall. I'm a big fan of that card. You can use it as like kind of surprise, removal. It's great at racing. Yeah, it's just great at racing because it causes so much damage and it's so cheap to operate. Yeah, if we didn't have the resources and the cards in hand to be able to play around the countermeasures that he was potentially holding up there, then we definitely would not have looked to finish off our opponent that turn. I probably would have played a little bit more conservatively. Maybe maybe throw down the B-17 and just attack his HQ with what we have and give him one more turn. Okay, again with... Do I want to keep this in hand? I'm definitely throwing these back. If he's playing like bombers and stuff, this can be good in the mid to late game to eat like one of his bombers. This is a little risky keeping this, I think, without knowing what he could be doing. Even this might be a risky keep. Probably just want to look for removal, honestly. Do I want to keep... let's keep the Sherman. That's nice. That's a decent curve that we have now. So now we can go play 5th Red Infantry on 2, move it up to frontline, play a 2nd 5th Infantry Regiment on 3. And then on 4, we can hopefully draw a couple cards with our Shermans. I wouldn't be surprised... Okay. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised to see him move this forward just to stop this from getting bigger. But our opponent elected to ramp. So he played this 332nd Engineer Regiment, gives him an extra credit slot. So now our opponent is ahead of us on credits by 1. Because he already went first, and now he's ramped up again. I think I want to just draw 2 here while the drawing is good. Our card that draws cards found us the card that draws cards, so that's always nice. Sure. I mean, that doesn't do a whole lot, to be honest. Yep, gonna grab the death from above. Our opponent's looking like he's just gonna like start slamming big units on the table. So anything that just kind of hard removes units is definitely what we want to be playing. Yep, sure. Okay, so this makes more sense why he decided to use shelling last turn, because he wanted to put all of our units in reach for the carpet bombing. But honestly, all of our... Like, we drew a bunch of cards. Like, we have a full hand still after that, so it's not really that big of a deal. I think I'm fine to just... Well, let's see. Maybe I want to do this first, see what it hits, and then play something else. Is that what we do this turn at all? Okay, instead of that, I'll just move this up. Our opponent is drawing cards, they're ramping some more. We are... drawing some more cards that don't... So what are some of the nastier things he could play next turn? I think we want to just do this and pass. I'm not going to run this into here just for him to eat it. Maybe it's right, because then we can get it lower than 5 HP so that our Avengers hit something more relevant. That's pretty aggressive. I'm fine with that, though. So we can just kill this, play this, draw another card. I think we actually take the sudden strike here so we can just kill this. As much as I'd like to take the Hellcat, though. Because if he's relying... I think he could play, kind of like he did last turn, play a vulnerable unit that he thinks is going to be guarded, and then we can just kill this and destroy, and just destroy it. That seems overly aggressive. He did get a good hit, though. He killed one of our B-17s effectively. Don't know that I agree with that play overall, though. Oh, you know what? Maybe it was better to use the first airborne there. 5, 6... Yes and no. Yeah, I think I just keep taking big unit. Hard removal. So this is one of the ways this deck can keep up with something like what our opponent's doing. Is like, just because we have a lot of really powerful top end in our deck as well. So our opponents spent a lot of time ramping to get there, whereas we haven't really needed to do that. It's a bit annoying, because if I could play the Avenger, sure. And even if it hits the tank, it could still leave him with this, which is annoying. Which is why I think yeah, maybe it was those couple turns earlier when I was debating using the 101st Airborne, maybe that was the correct thing to do, because now what I could have done is I could have gunship mission this to guarantee that the Avenger kills that big tank. I suppose I can still do that, just more delayed. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, maybe that's what we do. We do this. And then we want to play... Let's just draw more cards, I guess. Sure. Is he hitting face? Wow, that's good for us. So we can do this. This kills this. Let's just play this out. See what it hits. I'm fine with that. The Avengers kill this. That doesn't really do anything. I don't mind that. Our life total's getting a little low, which is a bit scary, but our opponent is spending a lot of cards. Do I want to play out a Sherman just for playing out? Yeah, I think we're going to use the one Sherman to power up the other one. Hello, Donvitz. How are you doing today? I don't know if the opponent's quite done yet. It's looking like we're getting close to done time. He showed us that airborne unit. I'm wondering if I'm just supposed to keep FLAMMPANZER in hand. It's not gonna put on that much additional pressure. He still has Avengers that he could be playing. We haven't seen the Avengers yet. Also haven't seen those yet. That's annoying. Could be worse. He's out of carpet bombings. Nope, that's what we're working on right now. I think I'm 1-star general currently. Well then. I think I might bounce this back to hand and redraw with it. But no, that's probably too greedy. I really need to take out this plane this turn. And I don't have a super clean way of doing that. Like I could do this, but I don't think that's worth it. What are the chances he has rescue mission? I guess fearing that, I'm supposed to kill this first. Yeah, see? Big brain plays. Big brain plays. So now we know he has 2 of those bombers in hand, which are annoying, but you think it's better to wait a bit to get FM? I tried today and faced a lot of top 20 players. Yeah, I don't know. This is one of my days off, so I don't have the luxury of picking and choosing when I can like try to FM. If people wanna, you know, try hard like in the early parts of the season just to get there, and I don't. You're always gonna face top 20 players, right? Like a lot of them want to get like to FM early on in the season, get off to a good start, and then a lot of them are gonna just grind like by the time like toward, you know, as you get towards the end, right, to ensure that they stay in the top. So it's like you can't really play around it. You should just play when you can, play when you want to. I don't know. I'm not gonna worry about it, I guess, is the long and short of it. So both of us have 8 cards left in our deck. We've seen a lot of his big stuff already. I'm not sure what else could be. Yeah, like he's got a full hand now, but like what is he drawing to that's really gonna save him at this point? He's through both B-17s. Now he's through 3 precision bombings. He's through... He could have 1 more Empire strikes. I mean, you're definitely correct with that, I think. I think that's not an unreasonable assumption to make, but sometimes you just have, you know, people's schedules can mean that you're going to be facing people, you know, week 2, week 3, week 4 that are, like, really good players. But yes, I suppose, like I said, if you want to wait and you have the luxury of waiting, I guess that's up to you if that's what you want to do. I don't have that luxury because I work 4 days a week. So or I should say I work 40 hours a week is a better way of putting it. So like Fridays are one of my only days when I can game like this, and so I'm just gonna like my schedule says, every Friday I'm gonna game. So I'm one of the players you're trying to avoid. Well, look, man, I play a lot of meme decks sometimes on the stream too. I like showing off a lot of different decks. So maybe not week 1 or 2 when I'm still trying to get to FM, but once I get all my nations to FM, I'm gonna be playing a lot of garbage stuff. So you'll want to run into me at that point. All right, Darkness here was last season's winner, I believe. And we see Germany across the table. I would imagine we're going to face a deck very similar to what we saw, from Ari, which means we're probably dead before the game even begins. I think we just throw all this back. Like, I don't really know what we like. Currently, this deck, this nation, I should say, doesn't have a way of dealing with an early Gebirgsjäger, and so you just can't really play one. Did I get top 30 last season? I have no idea. Last I checked, I was in the top 30, but I didn't play most of this week because I'd been working, so I have no idea where I ended up. But it's possible that I... Oh, this is a rough spot already. So I could hit this with Gunship Mission and put it in range of dying to this thing. I think we just gotta play that, and then next turn we sudden strike, shoot this. We're actually not in that terrible of a spot. Another sudden strike. That's actually pretty good. So you know what I'm gonna do? This is dead to that anyway. Let's kill that, and let's... What's better here? To kill the zero... Probably to kill the zero cost thing. Oh, so sorry, Caps. How are you doing? I saw your message, and then we got talking about being in the OC or whatnot. Let's Gunship Mission this, and sudden strike that. Pretty good. Excited to start a new season of cards. Hoping we can get to FM with this nation before we move on. Probably not going to happen because I've noticed we've been live for almost an hour already. Or we've been live for over an hour, and I've been recording this deck for an hour, so we'll give it a little bit more time though. I'm going to be streaming for 4 hours, and I only have 3 decks lined up that I really want to play today, so we'll give each one an hour 20, I think. So we were really hoping to avoid the encirclement there. Unfortunately, we did not. So we're in a bit of a pickle here. I'm pretty much obligated to play the first Marines here. I don't think I can play anything else. I guess Panzer IV might have been fine. That's game. GG. Will they nerf encirclement? I don't think so. I think... I don't want to say... I think... I have a feeling that cards will stay the way they are for at least a little while longer. We might see some nerfs, though, because of how well Germany performed last season. It's possible, I suppose. I don't see it happening, but I don't have all the data, right? The devs will look at the data and determine if there's an actual problem. It's true, so it's possible, but I wonder if the problem really is the German cards, or if it's just a really solid combination between the Japanese cards that they're running plus the German cards. There's no doubt that it's a very strong deck. I just don't know. It's hard to say if if anything is nerf worthy at this time. It's possible though. It's definitely possible. I mean, this game always seems to go, you know, there's always ebbs and flows, right? Like last season, or what was it? Yeah, what was last season was like Japan was doing really well, and the season before that was Soviet, and they've all only gotten slight nerfs. I really don't know how much of it is really, you know, I don't really know how much of it is like things being balanced that's making the changes, or just like the meta is just evolving and shifting. Like, there's a good chance that the Soviet value decks still beat these German mid-range decks. I think I'll just pass here. So our opponent's got what looks like a deck similar to ours, but okay, that's perfect. Now we can just cleanly kill this with a death from above. The worst thing there would have been if he played another unit. So our opponent looks to be playing a deck very similar to ours. Them getting to go first with that Gebirgsjäger was really good, but it looks like now we're going to get into a decent... I think we don't take the 5th here for sure. Yes, we have an M4 Sherman in hand, but we'll certainly draw something else that fuels that at some point later. We're still quite a few turns off of this, but we know this is going to be good in this matchup. Strategic bombing is also really solid, especially with our tactical strikes, puts us in range of a lot of things. I think we just take the more individually powerful card, though. Nerfing 34th might be a route they go. Like, its biggest strength is definitely its 3rd point of defense, making it very, very sticky threat. I think we'll go ahead and play that out and just attack the HQ pass here. Opponent is using strategic bombing on just that unit. That seems interesting. AWOKEN Giant? Yep. Yeah, I think we just take this. And I think I'm okay to run that out. So let's shoot that, kill this. I think I hold this back fearing another AWOKEN Giant. He's very likely to have one after drawing as many cards as he has. He could take the front line again, draw more cards, but I mean, his hand's already pretty full anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Could have gunship missions as well. It's kind of like a damned if you do, damned if you don't, but at least gunship missions cost more and they don't draw him a card. Wow, we are death from aboving our nearly dead unit. I don't think I played that out, actually. I was thinking about it, but now I don't think there's any way we do that. I think we just pass, because I don't want this to... I want this to fuel these Shermans for sure. It feels bad because we're like not using all of our resources on the turn, but I think it's what we're supposed to do. think we don't have quite enough resources for this, but no, we do. That was a really good draw. So we're down 8 points of life, but we have 2 units on the board. Do I play the P40 rather than anything else? I think so. Opponent has used both their B-17s at this point. Yeah, I don't think I'm debating if I want a Panzer IV bounce that back to hand to draw more cards, but I think that's just greedy. Should just go at this point. There's a chance that that this game goes long enough that we get to do like Panzer IV bounce our big units in hand and get value out of them that way. Okay, our gunship mission finishes that one off. Or we could bomb it. Yeah, I think we were solidly ahead there. Not surprised to see the concession. We'll do 1 or 2 more matches with this deck, depending on how long they take, and then we'll move on to the next deck of the day. Which is, what is it? I think it's a British Japan air deck. Could be an aggressive deck. We're going first. Maybe P40's fine to keep. We'll see. Immediately regret my decision. Yeah, it's becoming evident. I think if you're gonna be playing this deck right now, I think it's correct to just cut all the Panzer IVs and play like more Sudden Strike, more Gebirgsjäger of your own, just as ways to actually deal with. Matter of fact, I might make that change after. I mean, if I do this, he could just eat that there, but I mean, at least that takes some power off the table. Yeah, and we have 3 in the deck explicitly for this reason. I think if your deck has German cards in it, it's supposed to have 3 Flammpanzers right now. I think that's just the state of the game. Is you need Flammpanzer. Actually surprised. Well, I guess it depends on what he has in hand. He did get 2 resources for that, so maybe he has something else that benefits from the SDKF set. Well, that's a good answer, I suppose. That seems a little... I mean, our opponent's going to get rewarded for it here, but just throwing this out raw seems super loose. When you have US on the other side of the table, we could be running gunship missions. So I could play conservative. Like, I probably should play out the Panzer and look for like an answer. Yeah, like that. Sure. Probably what we need to pick. Would love to see a FLAMMPANZER off the top, or just anything else that we could reasonably use our resources with. Failing, like if we don't get something, yeah, definitely want to see that then. Perfect. Shoot this, pass. Yeah, that's annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, sure. So, am I supposed to just deny him the card draw, or do I want to be resource efficient? It's like, on the one hand, you know, this kind of slows him down and I want to start applying pressure, but, you know, he's likely running like a lot of burn and we don't want him to have an easy route to find it. I think I like being more resource efficient here, though. He will get to draw another card, but... this is where he encircles and we feel super bad. Oh, no encirclement. So... kill you... Oh no, I did that in the wrong order. I did that in the wrong order. So he should have 4 damage on his HQ. We'll see if it comes to that. Of course it hits the other Avenger in hand. Sure. Bismarck. Air Blitz, whatever. Actually, let's, since we're only doing what, one more match with this, I think. Let's maybe look at this. No, you know what? We'll talk about possible changes to the deck after. We'll play one more match. Is 2 gunship missions too many? They do heal us at least. Maybe it's fine. Guess opponent is on Japan aggro just with a slow start. Looks like it. I don't think I want to use tactical strike on that. I also kind of want to be resource efficient though. Yeah, maybe it's fine. I could see an argument for just throwing out the FLAMMPANZER there. Like, he clearly doesn't have 1-drops in hand. Well, I wouldn't say it's clear, but it's possible. Almost certainly we'll see more of them, though, as the game goes on. Alright, well, we don't have to worry about bombing raid from our opponent. That's valuable information. Wow. Just throwing that out there. Unfortunately, we burned our tactical strike, so we can't punish that. But if he wants to just throw it out again, this eats it, so. Yeah, we definitely have a nice start. I'm curious what our opponent's doing, though. Like, what do they have in hand that they're, like, that this is the play? Julio, thanks for the follow, man. Hope you're enjoying the stream. Hope you are enjoying your Friday afternoon. I don't know, he seems to be a little bit more mid-rangey, right? He's like, he's hedging against, okay, and then he plays this. Huh. So we definitely have full control of this board right now, but do we just race him? Is that crazy to do when we have, like, we have a JASCO? I feel like we could just ignore this and go face. Maybe that's wrong. All right. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's talk about this deck a little bit before we move on to the next one. So I think... Obviously, US has been struggling a little bit in the current meta, and I think the game... Those games kind of showed a little bit why that is. It's like... I think if you want to be better positioned against the aggressive decks that are in the format right now, I think one of the things you might be looking to do is... It might be right to not even be playing... Well, let's put it this way. You could sacrifice some of your top end, for example, and be playing things like Wildcats, which I think the Wildcats might actually be really well positioned right now. And they're like, even outside of like, even in matches where you're the aggressor, they can still put on a reasonable amount of pressure. I think if US decks are looking to be competitive right now, they might need to run some number of these. Just have like a pseudo guard unit that can preserve your life total just a little bit more, so that when you finally do turn the corner with your superior units, you don't just get burned out by cards like Air Blitz and Joint Operation and Bismarck and all that. It might mean, I don't know that they necessarily just fit in nice and easy in a deck like this. I mean, you'll definitely have to... It might be like a completely different configuration that's not trying to go as hard with the frontline capturing thing. Maybe the Shermans just got to come out and you're running something else. I don't know. I'd have to think about it more, but I mean, one simple change that you can make, for example, is maybe get rid of cards like that, and even I don't even know how good strategic bombing is right now, but maybe get rid of those two, and you know, if you can't beat them, join them, kind of thing, right? Like maybe a couple Gebirgsjäger of our own to just trade efficiently with early starts from our opponent and their Gebirgsjäger, assuming they don't encircle it, might be a way to go. It's also possible we could be running encirclement ourselves. I mean, we have, like, encirclement doesn't work that great with our 5th infantry, but it would work great, obviously, with the Gebirgsjäger, and it does work pretty well with 1st Marines, definitely with Hellcat, if you get late enough in the game. So it's possible that there's, like, a kind of US-German frontline deck that's utilizing those cards. You probably can't run things like the B-17 then up at the top here. Maybe the Panzer IIIs could be a sacrifice, since we're already getting decent card draw with this. So yeah, I think the deck is reasonable overall. Like it can do well against the other mid-range decks in the format. The problem is it just struggles with aggro right now, and aggro is obviously everywhere, especially at the start of a season. All right, so